Hey guys, it's Maymay, and you will have probably seen the Mente Papers door book that we showed last week. I'm in love with it. And this was going to be my Thursday video, but I forgot I'd already promised something else, so it is my Saturday video. So today I'm going to try something. I don't know if it's going to work. We'll see. I tore the back page off. Didn't mean to, but I'm going to be using those. There's 3 doors there, and there's 3 doors here. And my plan is to use these. I don't want to tear it. I'm trying to be super careful. And I want to make 6 Christmas cards with them, with just these 3, and it still leaves me all of these to play with later. So I'll put those aside for now, and the first thing I'm going to do is cut these apart into doors, right, because that's what they are. So I'm going to take my paper, and where the doors, where the line is, where each one is separate, I'm going to slice up. Now you'll notice there's a little hinge in there, but I'm not going to worry about that hinge. It either goes or stays. Whatever happens to it is fine. And if you don't like the look of it here, you can always trim it off slightly. So if I move this way and just trim that a little bit, I can kind of get that little edge off, that little hinge off that I don't like. I totally cut that crooked. Did y'all see that? Where y'all like, don't slice that. There, fixed it. Okay, so now I'll go right here and decide where I want to slice this one in half. And I think somewhere like that. And so now I end up with 3 doors from this sheet. And if I want to trim like that dark piece off, I can. I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to leave it for now. And now I can get 3 doors from this sheet as well. Now here's where I'm going to do the part I'm not sure if it's going to work. But I thought we'd find out if it would together. So this is my stamp set called Christmas Insta Wreath. I want to say this is from last year or maybe even the year before. And what this one does is the 3 of these stamped together create a wreath, and these little sentiments can fit inside. You can also use these if you want to do like a little grapevine looking wreath, or if you want to make an ornament. So this is the set I'm going to use today. So let me pull those pieces off. This is a very well-loved set. Look how beat up my stamps are. That's hilarious. Now, the 3 colors I'm going to use are my VersaFine Clairs, I should say, Pinecone, Tulip Red, and Rainforest Green. Now, here's why I chose my VersaClairs, besides the fact that they're my favorite inks. They're also pigment, and I'm going to be stamping on top of this image, so I want to use a pigment so it will sit on the surface and really show up, if that makes sense. Because a pigment ink doesn't sink in, it dries on the surface, and that'll give us a better result. So I'm going to start with the evergreen portion of the wreath, and I'm using my darkest green. Again, I want these to show up, okay? So I'm going to stamp this down here in this area. I'm not too stressed about being perfect with it because I don't stress about that anyway. But I do want to get it kind of at the top where a wreath would live. Look how cute that is. I love this. Okay, now I'm going to take a second color and we're going to start to layer. So I'm going to use this one that's kind of like laurel leaves, kind of it looks like. And I'm going to do it in the red. I think that'll be pretty to give us a little bit of Christmassy color. So I'm just going to ink this one up. Now what you do is you kind of treat this like a steering wheel. Okay, and you just kind of drive it into place. And here's what I mean. So I just kind of drive this into where I will be able to see as much of it as I want to see. And I just stamp that down. Now, every wreath may not turn out the same, and that's fine. But you just kind of drive that around. And look how pretty that is. This is working, y'all. It's working. Okay, now I'm going to stamp with my pine cone, and I'm actually going to do the pine cone. So these are a little circle of pine cones that go around the wreath, and I'm using the pine cone ink. And this one, again, you just kind of drive it around until you see a good spot for them to all show. And I like to kind of be picky about this one because I really want them to show up. And so literally you just steer it until you go, oh, there's a good spot. Okay, I'm kind of liking that. All right, so I'm going to place that down, and that gives me my 3rd layer, and that's my little pine cones. Look how cute this is. I'm going to lift this up for you guys to see it. Look how cute. I love that. Doesn't it look like it's just hanging on that door? Okay, now I want to go back into my stamp set and pull out my bow. So we give you a little bow on this set, which you can do a lot with. I'm just going to stamp it directly on. But you could even emboss it. Now, you'd want to let your ink dry and do a really good powder coat, and then you could emboss this here. But I'm just going to stamp it. And I'm trying to decide what color I want it to be. I kind of want it to be red, but then I kind of think it might be pretty in black because I've already got some red. Let's play with it. Let's do it in black. And if you don't like it, don't do black on yours. But my mama always taught me in decorating that adding a touch of black is very elegant. And so let's just see what happens. It's just a card, right? We'll see. Just going to ink that up. We'll put this here at the bottom and stamp it down. And see, I like that. I think it shows up really well. It could be lots of different colors. You could also use some clear embossing on this wreath now and emboss it. That would be really pretty too. You may do that. I don't know. Now I want to stamp one of my sentiments in the middle. I think this will be pretty. So several of the sentiments on the stamp set fit inside. Let me show you. So this one that says Christmas begins with Christ, that fits on the inside of the wreath. The Merry Christmas fits. The We Believe fits. The Happy Birthday Jesus is close. It's a little bit tight, but it can go in there. But I'm going to use the Merry Christmas one for now because we're making a Merry Christmas card. So just ink that up. I'm going to place this inside here. I feel like my door's a little crooked. I'm going to try to get that straight and stamp that down. So my inspiration from this comes from the fact that when the first time I ever ordered from Maymay, they sent me like a thank you card, and it was basically printed on top of their images, and I thought this was really cool. Now, in hindsight, I might not stamp the sentiment, just the wreath, and maybe put my sentiment somewhere else. So I'm going to run through real quick and stamp my wreaths on all the rest of the doors so we can see how they turn out. As I'm stamping, I'm thinking, you might want to use your MISTI or your positioning tool that you have. And the reason I say that is if you need to stamp twice, you know, if your ink doesn't come out as rich or as thick as you want it to, you might want to hit it twice, and that's the way you could do it. This pigment ink is perfectly fine, and it's showing up really well. It's even showing up on the dark doors, which I was kind of concerned about. I thought it might not, but it is. So let's run through and keep going. And what I'm going to do is do each color individually. Instead of opening all my ink pads all up at one time, I'm just going to do each color individually. So I'll do all the green, then all the red, then all the brown. So I've decided that I'm going to put these on slimline cards. So that means I need to cut down some cardstock. Now, I don't do the standard slimline card measurement that I see out there. And the reason is because I use a number 10 envelope, just a standard number 10 business envelope for these. And so my measurement is 9 1/4 by 7 1/2. And then I score them at 3 3/4. So mine's a little different than what you've seen out there. But I mean, you do you. Whatever slimline card you like and that you have always done, just do that. So I cut down 6 card bases, and now I'm going to score them. So I've dug into this Solids Plus photo play pack, the Christmas cheer version that has kind of these solids and these plaids. And I want to show you, I like this plaid because I use kind of a brighter red for my berry, and I think that plaid is really pretty. And I love the black, but I was thinking the gray might be pretty with that if I did something like that. I love that gray. I don't know. We're going to see how that goes. So let's do a little test. So my first layer is going to be 9 by 3 1/2. I'm going to do a couple layers on this card. So this is layer number 1, 9 by 3 1/2. And from this one sheet of 12 by 12, I should be able to get at least 4 of them. Let me just see. So there's 3. There's a good piece left over to use. And I think I can get one here. Nope, I can get 3 from that sheet, but that's okay. These are good size scraps for something else. So I'll put those aside. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut my gray while we're here. And I want to cut it down to 8 3/4, because this is going to be another layer on the card, okay? And I want to cut it down to 3 1/4, and I'll show you what's going to happen. So I'm hoping that this will look good. If it doesn't, remember, let me do the test, right? So see how cute that is with that little plaid sticking out? And then I want the door to be here, but I'm going to do some more. We're going to do some more little fancy footwork to it too. All right, so let me cut these pieces as well. So I got all my pieces cut down, and now I'm going to show you how to make it look as if I did a die, okay? Because you know how the slimline dies are really popular right now? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my scallop and stub punch, and I'm going to use the scallop corner, and I'm just going to punch the corners on all sides here with my scallop. And that will make it look like this is a big, long die cut piece. Then I'm going to take my gray piece and do the same thing, the scallop all the way around. And now they will layer on each other. So you'll see, and it'll look like it was a die cut out in that shape. Isn't that cool? I love that. So I'm going to run through and do that on all my pieces. Now, I want my door to pop even more. So see how it looks fine on the gray? I want to run a piece around it to make it stand off the page even more. And I think I want to do black. I think it'd be pretty to kind of pop it up with the little black trim. So let me show you how we're going to do that. So I got some 12 by 12 black cardstock. And rather than measure each door because they're not all the same size, I'm going to do this with my layer guides, with these little guys right here. I'll show you how that works in a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a piece down and I'm going to glue it directly down. I'm not going to be popping the door up from the black edge, but I may pop it up from the gray we're going to put it down on. We'll see. So I'm just going to glue this straight down. I refilled my glue bottle and forgot, so I got a lot of glue that time. And all I'm going to leave around them is to make sure I have enough to get 1/16 of a border around, because I'm going to use my 1/16 edge. I just want a tiny little bit of black to show. I just think it'll really make the door pop off the page. How cool is it we're using like the cover of that book too, so nothing's wasted. I love it. All right, so I'm going to put this one down. I'm going to glue down as many as I can, and then I will show you how to cut them out. Don't worry that you're using a full sheet of paper to do this. If you're like me and you have a scrap bin, this will go right into my scrap bin. I actually didn't have any black in my scrap bin to use for this, so I need some black anyway, so that's good. This will get me some scraps in there that I can use for something else. All right, so I got everything glued down. Let's cut them out. Okay, so the way the layer guides work is they have different measurements on each end. Let me put that where you can see it. So I'm going to be using the 1/16, and it has a little lip. And what you do is you lay that lip beside your image, and using your craft knife, you just run down beside it. And here's my trick, okay? More passes, less pressure. Don't try to do this in one pass. Even though these pen blades are really sharp and can probably do that, I don't want to try to force it. If I force it, I take a chance of slipping. But see how that gives me just a 1/16 border? Isn't that cool? I love that. So I'm going to run through each one, and right beside it, putting that little edge up to the image, I'm just going to run through and pass these over until that slice is made. I can feel it go through. I felt that one go. So now we'll go to the last one. One trick I want to tell you, or one very important tip, when you're using these layer guides, do not hang your fingers over the edge. Keep your fingers inside your layer guide. Keep your fingers inside so your blade won't get close to them. All right, so there's those. Let's go ahead and cut one edge of this. All right, I'm going to keep going around all four sides of my doors, and that will give me my 1/16 without me having to measure each door and cut each piece individually. So there's one door completely trimmed, and it may seem like I did that for nothing with that 1/16 of an inch, but look at the difference it makes here. See how the door will really stand out? I didn't want it to be too much. I just wanted it to be like a little shadow behind the door, and I still may pop it up to give it a little more. So there's that. All right, I'm going to finish cutting these out. So we just got this punch in yesterday. I showed this in the live show. I love this punch, and I've decided I need to use it today. So I punched for myself 6 of these little pieces in white, and I'm going to be pulling out a stamp that I love. It's this one right here, the Merry Christmas. This set is called Jolly Old Elf, and I love that Merry Christmas font. So I think it looks kind of like my door, kind of old English, and I like it. So I'm going to ink this up, and this guy just fits. So I really need to get my head over this. So I'm going to bring it down closer to me. I think you can still see what I'm doing. But he just fits on here. Just like so. Let that ink transfer. And peel that little guy away. Look how cute. Isn't that perfect on that little piece? It really dresses up the sentiment, I think. So I'm going to stamp that on 6 of these. So to go with these little guys, I cut 6 pieces that are 3/4 of an inch by 3 3/4, and 6 pieces that are 1 inch by 3 3/4 in the black. This is the same plaid we're using in the background, so I was able to use some of those scrap pieces we cut off. Now, I'm going to lay them out eventually, sort of like this. Let me show you. So I have the black piece in the background, I have the plaid here, and then this little guy is going to live on top like that, kind of like a belt across the bottom of my card. But I think I'm going to pop this up. So what I'm going to do first is glue these pieces together. So just kind of build as I go, right? So I'm going to glue this piece here to my black piece, end to end and centered top to bottom. Just like that, okay? So I'm going to run through and do that real quick. So from our stamp set called Joyful, I love this sentiment at the top that says his presence brings fullness of joy to hearts and home this Christmas season. And I thought that'd be cool because the door we're using on the front. So that's the sentiment I'm going to put on the inside. I have this very crooked on my block, and that will make me crooked if I'm not careful. So let's try to line that up without getting my head over it. Pretty good. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up and go ahead and stamp this on the inside of all of my cards. I just think this is a pretty sentiment for inside. Isn't that pretty? His presence. I love that. So I'm going to stamp that on all of my card bases. So I want to tell you guys something I've been wanting to do for a while now. So I think it would be fun when I'm making projects like this, where I'm doing a bunch of cards or something like that, that I give these away to one of my viewers. I just think that would be kind of fun. So like today I'm making 6 cards, and I'd love to share these with one of you. So there's a couple things you have to do to be able to be considered to win them, okay? So number 1, you need to be subscribed to my channel. That's easy. Just click the red subscribe button. Number 2, I want you to put in the comments of this video what you like about these cards. Like, what's your favorite thing about the cards I made today? And number 3, this is the hardest part, you have to promise me if you win these cards, you will mail them to people to bring joy. Now, I'll allow you to keep one of them. If you want to keep one for yourself, that's fine. But then send the other ones out to spread joy. So that is what I want to do. So all you have to do is be subscribed, write in the comments, my favorite thing about this card is, that gets your entry in. And the way we'll choose a winner is we will just scroll through the comments and stop on one. And as long as that person has done what was asked, subscribe, tell me what your favorite thing is, and promise you'll mail out at least 5 of them, because I'm sending you 6, then you're entered to win. And that'll be fun. And don't put any information in there except that, and then we will contact you from your comment and let you know that you won, and then we'll talk to you in private to get your information for sending it to you. All right, it's time to assemble. This is going to be the fun part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the gray piece to the red piece first. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you want to, you can cut the center out of here and save this inside for something else. It's a lot of paper on the slim lines. I mean, you could get a lot out of there for a good scrap. I'm not going to. It's going to be perfectly fine. I only used 2 pieces of cardstock from that pack to do this anyway, so I feel good about that. So I'm going to glue this directly down like so, okay? And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to glue this piece directly down to my card. So I'm going to add some glue. I'm going to build one with you right here, and then I'll build the rest off camera, so then I'll show you what they look like. All right, so then this is going to get centered on my card front. I love how that looks, as if we used a special die or something to make that happen. Isn't that cool? I love that. All right, now what I want to do is I need to bring my door and I'm getting my little pieces. So there's my little belt, my little piece, and a door. The door is going to live here, and I want to pop him up on foam. So I'm going to flip him over, and I'm going to cut myself some pieces here. I'm going to put one at the bottom, and then one at the top and one in the middle. And that should give me some good support for this door. And like I've told you before, if I'm using the foam, sometimes I'll add a little art glitter glue, and I mean just dots, just to kind of help it, just in case. So I'll do that. And now this guy is going to live up here, right underneath those little points on our little faux die cutting, just like that. And now I can place this. Now I will tell you, these cards are not going to be exactly alike. They're going to be very, very close, but because I'm laying these like this, they're not going to lay next to each other and be identical. You know what I'm saying? All right, so I'm going to put this guy down here, and remember, this one runs all the way across. He's like a belt that runs across our card, like so. Isn't that cute? He might be a little crooked. Let's straighten him up a little bit. Let me get my card straight. There we go. And then this guy, I'm going to pop up right here. I love that old English look of that stamp. So I'm going to place this in the middle, top to center, top and bottom, side to side, middle, as good as I can do it. And that is almost done. We're going to do something else to it too, but I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to go make the other ones look just like this, and we'll be right back together. So I also decided to add a little bling to these guys, and I'm just taking the tiniest little bling that I have in my stash and just placing it on the little corners of the door, or where the little scallop punches meet. I just think it's cute right in that little crease right there. And I'm doing that on all four corners. And to kind of pull that to the middle, I'm also going to place them right here on either side of this, just to give a little bling. I don't know, do I want to put it there or there? Oh, I like it on the red. So just a little bit of bling on either side of my sentiment. I just think that adds a little something to the card, a little sparkle. So when the person gets it, there's a little sparkle. You could add them to their wreath. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to do that. I just can't stop with these cards. I'm going to take some crystal glaze and I'm going to go over the bow and just kind of shine it up. I think that'll be cute to have the bow kind of have a little shimmer to it, like a little, just a glisten. So whenever the light hits it, it'll glow. So I'm just going to trace over those and let that dry. I just cannot stop, y'all. I just keep adding to it, but it's fun. You could also dot around your wreath with your crystal accents like it was dew or like it was little berries. I'm going to do that. Now, I do have to say, you'll remember I did a test one where I stamped inside of the wreath. Well, I stamped Merry Christmas and then I put Merry Christmas on the bottom, which means I have a duplicate sentiment. I'm not going to stress about it, and I'll show you why. Unless you really look for it, you don't really see that center sentiment. I think the one on the bottom in the white pops so much more that it's not a big deal. So see what I'm saying? You see it because we're looking for it, but in reality, you probably won't see it. So the person who gets these cards, I tell you what, if you're going to keep one, keep my mess up. That'll be a fun thing to remember. This is Maymay's mess up. I'm going to keep it for myself and send the rest out. But honestly, I still would mail this card out. I would not waste this card because of that. So I know that might bother some people, and I get it, but I would still send this card out. All right, so I'm gonna get all of these glistening, and then we are done. All right, so once that dries, you see that little shine that'll be on it. I think that's really cute, and it just added something to the middle. And there you go, our 6 cards. Now, realize what we used. We used 2 sheets from the door book. I used 2 sheets from my photo playbook, not even 2 sheets. I had some left over. And I used a little bit of black and then my card bases. So this is very minimal supplies to get such a good, such a nice card. I love how this turned out. I hope you guys too. So don't forget, leave what your favorite thing about this card is in the comments so you can win this set of cards. And I'll announce the winner sometime before my next video goes up. And I'll put it in the comments. You know, I'll tell the person who won it, so that's how they'll know. If you do this and if you get this door book and you use it, I want to see what you do with it. Put it in our customer gallery at maymaymadeit.com. There is so much inspiration over there for you guys. If you need inspiration, head to our website. It's maymaymadeit.com. Click on the More tab and you'll see the customer gallery. You will be surprised how many things are in there for you to be inspired by. Thanks so much for watching today. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Give it a thumbs up. And until next time, bye-bye.